Hello everyone and welcome back to another Babbling Irons video with myself and Sloth today. The first player is in, Sloth, of the summer transfer window 2024 under Tim Steidten and Julen Lopetegui. Luis Guilherme from all the way from Brazil. Tim finally got his man. A few bumps, a few hurdles, but he's finally a West Ham player. Still only 18 years old. It's quite a big fee. Could go up to around 30 million euros by the time all the clauses and stuff are activated. But definitely potential, talent to really explode, and that price tag could easily triple or multiply by 4 or 5 times in the next few years. So, first of all, how excited are you that this one is now over the line? And our summer transfer window has finally commenced under Lopetegui and Steidten.
Well, I think I'm not going to pretend that I have watched all his games, anything like that. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on him. Brazilian football, my knowledge on it is limited in parts, but the attacking elements, and particularly speaking to Portuguese friends that I have, particularly from my previous workplace, it's very, very popular. One of them in particular is a Palmeiras fan. He speaks very highly just of what this guy has done at his time across the academy. He's won something at every youth level of the club, and I think when I see him speaking about him in such glowing terms and talking about the sort of pace, energy, and skill and ability that someone has, that's when I start to get a bit excited. So I'm not going to pretend to be an expert, but I think that this is a really interesting transfer because the lower end of the scale, let's say it doesn't all work out and he has an impact here and there, but you don't see the full 30 million euros paid out. Well, then we're not actually taking that much of a gamble. But just going off what he said, I think when you look at the raw assets that he has, which pace, ball carrying ability, and skill, I think those are all the sort of things that should, fingers crossed, make for a very, very good player.
100%. I know we did more of a detailed breakdown on Guilherme a couple of weeks ago, so I'll leave that link in the description if you want to go check out a little bit more of a detailed profile of Guilherme and what he could potentially bring to West Ham. But like you say there, it's an exciting signing. I think for me, it's more the change of direction and strategy that's exciting me more as well. Sitting here as a fan, looking at places like South America to find these types of talents. This was a player that, like you say, came through Palmeiras Academy, and him and Endrick really were the standout players. One of those players has gone to Real Madrid, one's gone to West Ham, so kind of similar playing fields for where they're going to. But yeah, I think it's just a really exciting type of signing. As you say, we're not going to sit here and say we are experts on him, but from the research we've done, it looks like a really, really exciting talent. And there's a reason why Tim Steidten wanted to push this through. It's not just for pushing through a deal's sake. He's certainly identified Guilherme as a talent from that Brazilian league. So I'm glad we finally got it over the line. Again, it's a lot of money for an 18-year-old when you look at it from just like a holistic perspective. But as you say, the return on investment could be huge if this one kind of pops off. And as you say, he's got the pace. He's very, very quick. He's got the flair. He's got that once he's got that confidence, similar to when we signed Felipe Anderson. I remember the hype around signing a Brazilian. It was like, okay, this is like a fresh outlook. I think the media signing that day was fantastic as well. So it's just a little bit different having that Brazilian flair come in. It was same with Paqueta when he signed. So it's just an exciting start to the transfer window. And obviously there's going to be a lot more to do, but where do you see this Guilherme signing going, Sloth, in terms of where he's going to play? Because obviously he's been playing a lot on the right-hand side for Palmeiras, but a lot of the, the Brazilian experts, the people who watch Guilherme a lot more, kind of have him more as kind of that number 10 role. That's probably his best position, a little bit more centrally. Probably similar to Kudus. Kudus has played out wide for us for the majority of last season, but we want to see him in that number 10 position. So is it a matter of, okay, we've got that rotation in the middle now, and he also can play out on the right-hand side if he wants to? Is that how you see him kind of slotting into the team?
I think so. I think it would be a great thing to try and be as positive as I can and say, he's going to be rotated in as much as possible. And I think as we mentioned, his strongest position is that central attacking midfield role, and that's where he's going to go. But I think a lot of it will depend on Paqueta, what happens with that situation, and potentially who we bring in later in the window. Because if we get a good feeling about what's happening with Paqueta, that'll either mean that he's off, or that, you know, we will be set for depth in that area. And I think when you look at the ability to bring on a young, quick, hard-working player like Guilherme after 75 or 80 minutes, then suddenly the dynamic of the team changes. You know, Paqueta isn't a rocket ship. He's much more sort of a creative player on the ball and tenacious in his work rate. And I think it gives you an adaptability that we've really lacked in the past, but also maintaining the things that have seen Jared Bowen and Kudus thrive, that pace and the intensity to carry the ball. So I think it's important to stress that I don't think he's going to go straight into the first team. You know, it's that's highly unlikely, but rotated in off the bench, I think playing in that middle pocket will be a really interesting thing. And I think that's probably where he's going to start.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think as well, you know, we're sat here and the Euros hasn't really even started yet. And yeah, it's a good, a fresh approach to transfers, man. It's just nice. We're sat here in mid-June and we've made an exciting signing. Again, there's a lot more to do. There's so much work to do this summer for Tim Steidten and Lopetegui to get done, and obviously Co. But yeah, I just think the type of signing is what excites me more. You know, that's what I think West Ham fans should probably be focusing on. I know a lot of people on, you know, social media and stuff will fixate on the goals and assists output, which again will have to improve. You know, he's 18 years old. He's literally just turned 18. You know, put it into perspective there. You know, we wouldn't be saying the same as George Urfi. You know, if he played 10 games or 15 games for West Ham and came into the team and, you know, was playing well, but didn't necessarily have a massive goal and assist output from the start. You know, we would be behind that type of player because, you know, they're developing, they're still young. And yeah, as we already said, you know, Guilherme is an exciting player. He's got pace. You know, he'll look to take people on. You know, he was averaging, I think, from the breakdown video we did on our YouTube, he's averaging like almost 6 take-ons a game, or attempted take-ons, which is a lot. You know, it's definitely parallels with Mo Kudus in that sense. So for me, it's an exciting signing. We always do like a prediction, or not a prediction, like a scoring out of 10 if a transfer was to happen. What's your stance on it now, Sloth? What would you rate this transfer out of 10? Now it's gone through. Now you know the type of deal it is and the price it's going to be.
Well, I think when you just look at the headline figure and you say, oh, like, you know, 30 million euros, people will raise an eyebrow. But it's important to put it into context, and that's with add-ons. So, you know, I think it's an 18 million euro fee is supposedly the lower end of the scale if things go bad. That's not a massive risk in terms of Premier League football nowadays, as mad as that sounds, you know.
Yeah.
But 5 or 10 years ago, you'd be saying, wow, that's a lot of money to put out for a youngster. But I think in this sort of day and age, it's not. As I mentioned, I think it's all about the potential here, and the potential of him either coming on after 70 minutes and changing a game, or growing into the side as we go forward. And this is someone who's won something at every single youth level of Palmeiras Academy. So it's not like he's just been a standout. He's been part of a successful side. And for me, it's really exciting. Again, I mentioned speaking to a few of the Portuguese colleagues and stuff that I've had in the past, and also just reading up on him. I trust the website, so they're going to get a little shout out here called footballtalentscout.net. They're a fantastic database on any sort of young footballer out there. They gave him a 9 out of 10. Now, this was 2 years ago, but they very rarely, they're not exactly generous with their scores. If they give a player a score, you can generally say that's what they're going to go on and be. I think one of the few 10s they gave was Mbappe, so that should give you a good clear signal of what it's like. And they gave him a 9 out of 10. And I'm going to kind of mirror that. I'm going to say, just going off the reaction from someone who knew football and watches a lot of South American football, he really lit up when he spoke about him. And it's all the sort of things that we've spoken about this season about Kudus and how he's come in. His pace has transformed us. His work rate, his like attitude in taking people on and just running at them relentlessly. And that's the sort of thing that he was echoing towards me. So I'm going to go with a 9 out of 10. As I mentioned, a big part of that is in the scope of him being a very raw physical talent, but also the financial side of it, because, you know, there's a bit of a security net there. If things do go Pete Tong, then potentially we haven't wasted too much money. And I think we can get a return on it because he's still incredibly young, as you mentioned.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I'd probably have it around 8.5, 9 out of 10. I think this is a fantastic signing. I think every West Ham fan should be on board with the philosophy and the type of signing we've made here with Guilherme. So yeah, let us know in the comments down below what you think of West Ham's first signing of the summer transfer window for 2024. And yeah, hopefully one of many to come into the door this summer, and just exciting in our eyes. Yeah, let us know in the comments what you think about it. Leave a like on the video if you did enjoy. And yeah, until next time, Sloth.
Come on, you Lions.